Hi, 7th graders. Welcome back for Tuesday and week 5 of distance learning. I wanted to just take this chance to quickly go over the SpongeBob worksheet with you. Um, if some of you are still confused, after you've made a submission, I've made this video for you to watch. I'm going to go through the entire worksheet. So you may want to speed it up in YouTube, and I'm going to switch over to just writing on the iPad, going through the worksheet with you. So if we start at the beginning here, for number 1, it says for each genotype below, indicate whether it is heterozygous or homozygous by writing HE or HO. So for the first one, we've got 2 capital T's. That would be HO because that is homozygous. It's got 2 of the same forms of the allele. The second one, right below it, capital D lowercase b, that would be HE. Moving across to the right, capital B lowercase b, that would also be HE, and 2 of the same lowercase f's would be HO. Sliding across to our next ones, 2 capital D's would be HO for homozygous, capital T and lowercase t would be HE, heterozygous, capital F lowercase f would be heterozygous, 2 lowercase b's would be HO. Finishing us off, we've got 2 lowercase t's, that would be HO, 2 capital B's would be HO, 2 lowercase d's, HO, and 2 capital F's would be HO. For the second part of number 1, it says which genotypes would be purebred. Those would be all of the answers that you wrote HO for. So we've got the 2 capital T's, and we've got the 2 lowercase f's, 2 capital D's, 2 lowercase b, 2 capital B, 2 lowercase t's, 2 lowercase d's, and the 2 capital F's. And the reason they call these purebred is because if they were bred with each other using a Punnett square, they would always get the same results. Okay. For the hybrids, that would be all the answers that you wrote HE for. So you've got capital D, lowercase d, capital B and lowercase b, capital T, lowercase t, capital and lowercase f's, and that would be all. For number 2, you had to find the phenotype for each genotype. The phenotype is the actual physical trait that shows up. The genotype is going to be the letter pairs. So it's asking you which letter pairs will produce what traits. So 2 capital Y's would produce yellow, lowercase and a capital Y, the second one. Heterozygous would be yellow. And if you had 2 lowercase y's as a genotype, the phenotype that showed up would be blue. For the square shape, being dominant over round, we've got 3 genotypes here. 2 capital S's would be square. A capital and a lowercase would still give you square because you have one of the dominant form. And then with 2 lowercase s's, you would get a round phenotype. For number 3, you're doing the reverse. It gives you a phenotype, and you need to write what genotypes would give you that result. So if the tall head is dominant to the short, you would have 2 capital T's as a possible genotype, or a capital and a lowercase. For the short phenotype to show up, you would just have 2 lowercase t's as your only genotype. Next one, pink body color, capital P is dominant over yellow. So to get a pink body color, you would have 2 capital P's or one of each. To get yellow, you would have to have 2 lowercase p's. Next, we are looking at a scenario. It says SpongeBob SquarePants recently matched SpongeSusie Roundpants. SpongeBob is heterozygous for his square shape, so his genotype would be capital and lowercase. Susie is round, so she would have 2 lowercase s's. And we know that, 1, because it tells us he's heterozygous, So he's got one of each letter. Also, we could look back up into question 2 and it tells us about round and square and which is going to be dominant. So if we fill out this square, you're going to copy the capital S's down, copy your lowercase s's down, and then copy the lowercase across. That's what your completed square is going to look like. The genotypes of their children, I'm just going to write a G and a P to identify which is which answer. The possible genotypes, you have a heterozygous or homozygous recessive. That's what you would call 2 lowercase s's. For the phenotypes, they could be square or they could be round. And what are the chances is their next question. If you look at the Punnett square, you can see that these two would be square. So that would be 2 out of 4, which is 50%. And then the other 2 offspring would be round. And so that would also be 2 out of 4, still 50%. For the last problem, it says Patrick met Patty at a dance. They are both heterozygous for their pink body color, which is dominant or yellow. Create a Punnett square to show the possibilities. So if they are both heterozygous, that means they're going to have a capital and a lowercase. And if we fill out the Punnett square, you should get 2 capitals there. You should get 1 of each in the bottom left, 1 of each in the top right, and then the bottom right, you should have 2 lowercase p's. That's what your finished Punnett square would look like. Listing the genotypes and phenotypes, I'm just going to use G and P again. You could get all 3 possible combinations. You could have homozygous dominant, you could have heterozygous, or you could get homozygous recessive as a genotype. For the phenotypes, you also could get both options. They could be pink or they could be yellow. Both are possible. What are the chances? Again, you're going to look at the Punnett square to find these answers. Chances to get a pink body. The pink body will have a capital P. So we've got 1, 2, 3 of those. So our chances will be 3 out of 4, which is 75%. And chances we would have a yellow-bodied child would be 1 out of 4, or 25%. So, quick review on all those answers. Hopefully that helped if you're still lost. And we'll continue on with some more practice with genetics. Reminder, quiz on Thursday.